So final race of the season here, Cobbled Climbs. We can see current standings of the league. We're currently first with a small buffer on Team now, which means that all we had to do was finish fourth, I think, and it's still beaten by 1 point, assuming they won the race. So yeah, I'm not going to fast forward this. I'm afraid it's a long one, but I'll put shortcuts to the key points in the climb. The key climbs in the race, so you can skip to those. I'm not going to speed up because I tend to use these for my own race recon in the future, and that's the main reason I really do them. But yeah, starting this race, it was freezing in that conservatory. As you can see, I think I've got base layer, 3R jersey, short sleeve jacket, arm warmers, bib tights, overshoes. I didn't go quite as far as thermal socks. Still have both fans on. You still need your fans on. Didn't want to absolutely freeze in the sort of long sections between the climbs. It could be quite difficult if I was getting that cold. But also wanted to be able to take off a few layers, so I've probably thought about it far too much about what I was going to wear, but I think I got it right, so maybe it was worth it.
Hello, can you hear me? Discord seems to have about 20 updates to do.
If you're watching this part, you're mad. Watching this flat part, not skipping the other parts, but the first layer coming off. I don't think it was that warm by this point, but I just thought, climb's coming up. It's going to be horrible if I do it in a jacket, so I'll take it off before that. I was feeling alright though, warmed up enough. Heart rate 159, that'll do to keep me up, keep me warm enough. So as we're turning this final corner, leading up to the first climb, Libby Hill, I was just thinking, just get to the back. This is the time when we're going to have faster through segment. So if I can start the segment nearer the back, yeah, it's going to help my time. If I can get up to the group relatively quickly, then I've already got a few seconds on. You can see a few other people in the group sort of pulling away from us a bit here. So it's kind of this balancing act of trying to be far enough back, but also not too far that you're going to get dropped by everyone, lose all your draft. But it's still got a decent amount of draft there, you can see. See a few other people doing it here. I can't see who they were exactly. I think the guy behind me might be. Yeah, so hitting the segment right at the back. Managed to give it a bit of a dig. Just go straight through relatively easily. I think that gives you that from the start. There's already some people pushing at the front. I didn't want to go too hard, but at this point, other people going sort of forced into it. It's higher than I remember being, around 600 for a second there. It pretty eases off as it flattens off here. Had my feather, just didn't want to use that until the steeper parts, which I think comes just after the first left-hand bend on the cobbles. I noticed about halfway up as soon as we got into the cobbles, so I'm going to hit my power up relatively soon after this. Yeah. Ruining my gears as always. Looking at it now, maybe the feathers are not the best on there. Moved through a few people and managed to get third across the line. And still lost fast through the segment by 2 seconds. I'm really complaining there. No effort. And finished 0.2 off second as well. I'm not sure where they started in the segment. Maybe they started further back. I'm not sure. I think that guy in front of me knows. I'm not sure. He might be the one that started behind me, but I couldn't see names on the list when we started the segment. It's pretty soon after this that the 23rd Street comes up. I always got that segment long. I think I got it right this time. And I'm sort of thinking, well, I need to move back because it's very much a slingshot set next one. And so I wasn't really putting myself, and just wasn't able to move back at all. So a few seconds ahead of the group. So I've got to go for it, but I'm not getting any slingshot at all. So I started in first with the worst position, just because of finishing higher up in the first segment, I think. And think at least I'll get a few points for being at the top, but everyone just, I think the slingshot that some of them had, not all of them, just shot past me pretty soon at this point. So know what's balanced there in the top right. Just over 6. I'm not sure where I came in this one. 3rd, 4th. And then my time just right down there in terms of first cross, fastest through segment down in 16th. Looking like there. No slingshot at all, so yeah, I'm probably just tired from the first segment too. So not great on that second segment. Happy with the first one, but I thought where I started, I've done a bit better than 3rd fast through segment, given I finished up there. But they must have done a pretty similar thing, I think, and started near the back. And I don't know where he's come from, because I don't. Maybe he has ridden some other races this season. I'm not sure, but I don't remember seeing his name before. But he did. He was pretty strong in all the Libby Hill segments. So just as we hit the first slopes of Governor Street, I think it's called. My hair looks interesting, doesn't it? I'm booked in for a haircut, don't worry about that. This weekend, so I won't look quite so ridiculous in my videos. Oh, there we go. Arm warmer's coming off. Clearly getting a bit too much. 3R jersey, half undone as well. I thought about taking it off, but never quite felt the need to, so yeah, I was glad to put the layers on a bit. But first time at Governor Street, it's not a time segment, so everyone holding back relative to the other two, as you can see on the power graph. Nowhere near the red peaks that were on the previous 2 climbs, but some people pushing. It's just not too much point at this stage. I think everyone's giving it the efforts to come, and even if you do push, it's all come back together. And if you're pushing to try and drop people, those people are likely to get dropped in the following climbs anyway, so is there too much point? It does look like it's spreading out a little bit on the map. I think that's groups that are already formed in a way anyway, and actually they seem to merge in a bit. So this is a crucial climb for the finish. It comes just before the finish line, 500, 600 metres I think from the finish line. But just important just to save energy as best as possible, I think, up there most of the time. It's all pretty strung out there, isn't it? Going back, I think that's just because it's a relatively large group leading into here after having not quite finished the first lap.
Didn't realise that was Margot. Well, we've been very pleased with 104, but we've got third still. Feather. Keep forgetting to use my barrel, but I've got an arrow, but I've forgotten the last 2 times.
So we are leading up to second time up Libby Hill. No thoughts at all of fastest through segment here. I didn't believe that I could beat my time or get near the top 10. I think top 10 might have been 1:10 you'd have to do. I think my previous best might have been 1:08. Then I did 1:04 actually in this race, which was my best by a few seconds, I think. I'm not sure exactly how many, but I was surprised by that. I guess I think that previous best was from an A race, and so I was more tired by the time I got to the climb. So I couldn't quite put in the same power as I could in this, whereas I was a little bit fresher. So this time I'm trying to be a bit closer to the front. I'm trying to get a bit of draft there. Not a whole lot though. This sort of elevation, 20% on the draft, which is pretty low. And you get to know this draft gauge and know what the benefits are, what it can get up to, a few hundred really, potentially 600 I've seen down here in a big group. And some people pushing on here. I don't like to push on that early, but try and push on towards the end and try and push through. Stevie coming through pretty strong here with his aero. It's a bit early to use an aero. I suppose we're still moving 30 kilometres now. Sometimes I might have done that on this one. Just save the aero actually for the top. Not necessarily for the segment as such, but I did use it on the segment. But you're going a bit faster, but also just gives a little bit of a rest on the flat bit as well. I can rest up a bit more here just for a split second maybe. And just when I'm going faster here, 38 kilometres an hour, the faster you are, the more benefit you have from an aero. It's not really related to elevation. I mean, elevation obviously slows you down, so they are indirectly related, but it's all about if you can do a certain speed uphill, then you're going to still gain an aero advantage from using your aero. Like on 23rd Street, which is coming up, for example. But you're obviously going faster at the bottom before that. So a bit more of a group here. But I didn't really have much confidence in myself being able to beat my previous time, despite the fact I did it by myself. Maybe I should have. It's easy in hindsight, isn't it? When my heart rate's not at 170, having been a bit higher before that. But I maybe could have backed off a bit here and gone from the back. But again, I hit it at the front, completely wrong. Just try and push up, but I struggled on 23rd Street a bit more than I thought I would. I thought this would be the better one. There's a bit of a more of a puncher. I thought 30 seconds might be more my kind of effort, but I didn't seem to do quite as well as Libby. And then backed off a little bit there and lost a place potentially, but what was that? I'm sure that was S-play again. Storming through, I probably wouldn't have been faster than moving back, carried on. Fourth, was that across the line maybe? Happy with that, can't really complain. And it's just rest up now to Governor Street.
How long does the steamroller last? 30. Thanks. Do I save the steam rolls or will we use it? Get rid of it, maybe. get another one before then can't if I use it up and save it if you think so. So negative, Teddy. You're doing great there, mate. Good luck. Use that out front. We don't need to worry about them.
Coming into Libby Hill, again, no thoughts of fastest through segment. Not going to beat my time, not going to set a top 10. So I'll just try and get up near the front as best I can. I was attacking all segments really. I think I'm upper end of B, so I should have the ability to do that. And I think it kind of suits me, this kind of course to a certain degree. Not necessarily the strongest, but I think I've been all right with repeated efforts recently. I certainly prefer them to team time trial. Sort of long, steady efforts. I prefer to be able to hit things hard and then a little bit of a rest between, I think. Yeah, this just sitting in really at the moment. Minimal draft though, it's still 7%. A bit of draft, not much at all. First time I think I had a steamroller in the race at this point, so I think the plan was always to use it right at the bottom of the cobbles, because I knew the cobbles were about 30 seconds long, I'd be on them, and the steamroller was 30 seconds, so perfect really. Varying my gears again. My cadence is far too low here. I think I maybe need to work on this. I think I've sort of got into the habit of grinding out climbs, and it looks horrendous. 67 cadence. Doesn't look good there. I managed to spin it up a little bit more. Maybe as it flattened out, I think changed gears as well. Yeah. Fourth across the line, I think. Fourth in first cross line there. So a few points there. That's 5 seconds behind the two guys at the front. They look like Esplay and McGill. I wouldn't have been up there, and if I had, I would have used up a lot more energy. So here, I think I've got caught out a little bit at times by packs coming past, so trying to look behind me to see when they're actually going to come past, so I can pick up the speed as they do come through, and don't risk getting dropped and having to put in a little bit of an effort on the downhill, which almost happened a couple of times in the race. I think this lap actually was went 23rd Street maybe went okay for me in this lap, the one coming up. I'm not sure why, so I'll find out with you. So it looks like I came from the back a bit better. More people to come through. 69 kilometres an hour start. Steamroller. Used that far too early. I don't know if it lasted. I thought the cobbles were going to be at the bottom, and they clearly weren't as soon as I crossed it, but I think it should just about last to the top. We shall see. So not so good on fastest through segment. First across the line, sorry. Back in 6th maybe. I think that was my fastest time in that segment in the race. It shows I could have gone faster with a bit better draft earlier on, but that got me. It didn't get me much. I think I got 9th fastest through segment. at that point, so, or maybe at the end of the race I got 9th for that segment, so maybe just 2 points I think. It's something, I guess. Down here as well, actually, this is where Megan, who I think had already been pushing at this point earlier on, she was obviously feeling pretty strong. And I said, let's push on a bit, trying to stop the group behind from catching us. And as we can see, there's about 7 seconds behind our group of 8 to a group of 6. I was obviously just keen to push on. And I did think actually that it could potentially benefit us because there's me and Stevie in this front group with only one Team NL guy, and really we obviously want to beat all teams and that, but really it's about us being as close to Team NL as we can. If we're scoring more points than them at the front, then it's always going to help. So I did think it could benefit us, but I also didn't want to put too much in, knowing the efforts we still had. Still 2 laps, still, what's that, 7 climbs, this one up Governor Street, and then another 3 on each lap, so I didn't want to go too far in, but Megan's obviously pushing, which is it's good to try a few things differently, and I did help a little bit. I think when we get to the top of this climb, I pushed onto the front a little, but I wasn't sort of pushing much more than maybe FTP, sweet spot sort of area. Not exactly. I think they might have caught on anyway in the end. Yeah, I think up here you can see the group behind, and it's actually saying the 9 seconds, which is a bit more than it was before the gap, but I think we were. So it doesn't look like sitting in. I think they were more motivated at this point to catch us than we were to try and pull away. Megan's still trying to encourage us to push on for the final 2 laps. But I think on the climb here you can see the group behind. They're spread out. The ones that really want to catch are catching, because they're that much more driven to do it than us, without any sort of carrot up the road to aim for. And I'm pretty sure as well at this point that there are a few Team NL guys in there, so it would have been good for us to stay away. But I think I said earlier as well that if we don't manage to stay away, those people are dropped on previous climbs, so chances are they're going to be dropped again. But actually the fact that they've had to try and close that gap and push harder than that on the Governor Street, I look pretty dead, don't I? 173 beats from there. But they would have had to push harder to close that gap. We'll go a little bit on the front. No, nothing. Get to the front and drop down to 100 and something. Oh no, up 300. Yeah, they would have had to push a bit harder just to close that, so they're always going to be a bit more tired than us, and arguably likely to be not quite as fit, so chances of being dropped later on are higher. So is there really that much point in trying to drop them at this point? Maybe that's an issue with Zwift. I think a lot of people have said that Zwift doesn't encourage attacks because it's too difficult to get away because pack speed is too high. And yeah, I think they're looking to address that, aren't they, with the new pack dynamics whenever they try and bring them in. But I know there was a few issues with those when they first came in. I certainly struggled with them in one of my races. Sat at the back of the group and I should have had a fair bit of draft, but it felt like an FTP test for the whole thing. And the first time I've been dropped in a B race for a while. In that race, in Zwift inside a tiny race. Yeah, but it would be good if they do change up a bit. See if they can encourage a few more solo attacks Not all the time, but it'd be good to have a little bit more variety, I think, in tactics that you can use, especially in team races like this. Megan trying to, I think the team are now caught now at this point, so you have 3 people into Megan, trying to encourage them to push on front because it's in their benefit to get further up. But with 25 seconds on MS, which might be Marco, my teammate, it looks like it is, who's 4 seconds ahead of everyone else. He's obviously pushing a bit harder to try and get away. He's much more of a time trial as Marco, likes to push on the flat. So once again, as we're about to hit this segment, Libby Hill segment, penultimate lap, I've got a feather, so I set my fastest time, although it was the first lap, so I'm likely set my fastest time, but that was with a feather. So sticking at the front, this guy in front seems to be bombing along without even pedalling. Oh no, his cadence sensors caught up with him. Oh no, maybe not. No, he's somehow freewheeling up a 6% incline, pulling away from it. I'm sure it's just a lag issue. I'm not accusing him of anything. I assume that was a lapped rider that we just went past. Yarwood from Rhino. Good work, mate. Keep it up. And so coming in here, looks like I'm 5th at this point as we're about to hit the steep slopes. Grinding. Don't like that. At times I've benefited from spinning it up a bit, but when it gets this, I find it difficult to do that, whether I should be spinning it up, sat down, or yeah. I wonder if I need to work at this a bit. It's just difficult to do stuff in a race scenario and experiment with things. Yeah, I think second across the line here, I think. Yeah, just putting it. Nice play again, I mentioned earlier. On the front again, winning that segment. It might have been 3 or 4 times we won that segment. Maybe even more. I'm not sure. Just looking behind, we're quite strung out. Chances are we've dropped a few people from that group at this stage, I think. As I was saying before, you can sort of keep. There's no need to push to drop, or to stay away from people so much in this kind of course, because you like to get back anyway. I think at this point I thought Stevie had dropped back a bit, but he managed to get on. And we're back again with one guy from Team NL with a few. The others I think have been dropped. I think they had 4 in the group before that climb. And coming up to 29th Street, whatever number it is. Possibly could have used the air a bit earlier, but it's always difficult. I think here I thought, there's a few times this happened, I got to the front and thought, I'm going to win this one. And then people just power past me, and nowhere near high enough. People bombing past. Maybe I did hold on. Yeah, this was my one and only first across the line in the segment. It was nice to get one. Pretty annoying. It's annoying to get a steamroller at this point because you can't use it again until Libby Hill. I didn't quite know whether to use it up or not, to hope for something else before finish banner or not. I think I might have saved the fuel.
Who's this Espley guy? Espley. I don't remember hearing of him before. I think he's won at every Libby Hill. This is a good situation for us. 2 against 1 with an out. That's pretty good. Break away to win this. Not me. S-Play, whatever his name is.
Going to the bottom of this descent, and see is it yeah, Megan at some point on that descent has gone away with who was that? O'Flynn, yeah. 2 of them got away, got a few seconds away at this point. It was a very bold thing to do. A lot of people wouldn't, but a small group, so there's a chance we're saving ourselves for the climb. And it's not like we're going to set fastest through segments. If they can get to the climbs, at least they'll get a few points on that. I think at this point I thought I could have gone with them potentially, but when it's 4 seconds, you know that as soon as I go, I'm going to drag other people with me, and then I've done the work for them, and there's no breakaway at that point. So I would have brought it together, which would be good, but I wouldn't necessarily gain the same benefit as if I'd been up there in the first place. Yeah, so 6 seconds have got on us now. I think they keep on pulling away. Come up to the final, Libby Hill. I think I'm just thinking, thank goodness. Last time, only 3 more climbs, then we're done. This is potentially the hardest in terms of pain. A decent gap, I think, to the 2 guys in front, or a decent gap for them. We've got 20 seconds on us at this point, but I thought we'd close up a lot of that on the climb as we pushed harder because they'd be a bit more tired. We did close up some, but not that much, I don't think. So just following the wheels at this point. Didn't want to push that hard, but also push hard enough to try and close. See how I'm in it. I'm not sure. Cadence is low. Maybe it's a bit steeper than maybe anticipating at various points. Dropping steamroll at this point. Started to push on a bit. Top 2's gone for the versatile line. S-play coming through again as he always did. Stevie coming through strong there. That's not good, is it? 68 cadence at that point. I don't think I need to try and spin up again a bit more. 5th across the line, a few points, not great, but it's something. Yeah, so at this point we can see about 16 seconds, I think, 2 in front. It's managed to close down a few seconds there, not many, I thought. And we're quite a small group, so on the downhill, 5 of us maybe. I'm not likely to be able to make up too much ground, but I thought we've still got a chance of catching up a bit on the 23rd Street if we push it up there, because though it's only short, they'll be a bit more tired, but I think those sorts of moving are starting to drop, hopefully at this point. And final time up 23rd Street, not too long. I think from the front again, always seems to do that. I think I made a bit of a mistake on this one at the top as well. It's looking alright. Didn't feel alright, and then it was coming through and I thought it was doing alright. And then Steve started coming past and I thought, I don't need to battle Steve, I'll let him go. And then these two come through. A bit of a mistake there, I think. I didn't mind Stevie going and just backed off too much because I thought he was the only one that couldn't pass me. I don't know if Emmanuel got past me, but if he did, he could have potentially got 2 places higher. That could have been crucial for the end result, as you may well see at the end. At this point, though, Finn's come back to us, it seems. I'm not quite sure how he came back so quickly, but he has maybe 15 seconds, so it goes to bit again, and then if it was possible to catch him if he knocked his neck on the final climb, you have to put in a bit of a push to do that. It's good at this stage, it's just me and Steve in this group. Well, it is me and Steve in this group. There's 2 from 3 hours in. And only 1 guy from Team NL. With the others from his team not looking very likely at all to catch us. So we must have pulled in a few points from the top 10s. Doing that, and then we're going for the finish. The reason at this point would be good, but the aim is just to try and finish ahead of him at this point, I think. Best to finish as high as you can, but minimum to try and finish above Emmanuel, the Team NL guy. So I was thinking, if I can, I'd like to push it up there, see if I can create a bit of a gap. But I didn't know if I'd be able to. Not like 163, so not too bad for this point, but obviously going to go up. You see the paragraph, and then Emmanuel just jumps. I don't know how he managed to put out that much power on so steep enough to do it on a... I don't know, he's going high cadence on that there. I sort of half try and cover it and then can't at all. Cadence too low, I should be spinning up a bit more here, I think. It's like 66, only doing 330. Not in a good way. At this point, we've just got 3 seconds behind Emmanuel. not a whole lot. Some people will definitely catch that, but I think he keeps pushing a bit harder maybe. Maybe he doesn't pull away. So 2-3 seconds. There's still a bit of a gap's closed and then 400 metres to go. I think I thought I'd try and go early. So went at 300, got the power up. See if I can catch the best way, but I should have done it from behind the group really. I think I just ended up leading him out. At this point I thought I'd definitely catch Emmanuel. But I think he then pushed on. Here comes Espo again. And Stevie came past and managed to beat Emmanuel, so I feel like I did my job in leading him out to get a few more points there for me, with Stevie coming in third. So stopped me a few points there.
Well done, Stevie.
So yeah, 5th in the race. But yeah, with that, I had surprisingly low 20-minute watts per kilogram there, 3.3. I had to go quite a lot lower to see anyone that low. Average relatively low as well. Yeah, and these are my segment points, scored on all 10 segments, so I'm pretty happy with that. 1 first across the line, 1 second, a few thirds, and then 2 fast through segments. Surprised myself with 9 points on 23rd Street at some point. And then, yeah, we lost that race, unfortunately. We came second by 3 points. You always think, what else could I have done? But happy with my effort, 113 points, can't complain. Strong one from Stevie and the rest of the team as well. And then final league standings, won by 3 points. So happy with that, finish to the league. Tied one fast through segment. They were better on finish and first cross the line, but we were pretty strong in our team time trials. You can see here, team time trials rounds, I think 2 and 5. I think top 2 in all races except for round 4. I think round 3 was pretty special as we only had 3.5 riders, I think. So yeah, thanks for watching.